What is up, people? Welcome back to episode. We don't even know. Could be 8, could be 9. It
It's
might
like,
even be 7, bro. What we riffing about today, man?
yeah, today, I think it'd be a really good opportunity to talk about what the fuck you've been doing. Every time I check Twitter, it's like, yeah, 60K piff, 70K piff, 80K piff. I message you on WhatsApp. I'm like, hey man, what's your fucking problem? What are you doing here? So, figured maybe this podcast would be a good opportunity for you to talk about why you just casually collect a couple $100,000 a week. So, any thoughts on that?
Bro, it was so funny. I tweeted that, and 1 second later, text from you. What the fuck are you doing?
I'm like, dude, what the fuck? It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't disclose shit, so I don't know how you brought it up here. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, bro. Do you know what? It's probably a good thing to talk about, but I think I've got to be careful in a way to what I
yeah.
can talk about. But yeah, this past week or so, there was one 60K, one 80K, one 67, 72. Fuck it. Massive
Weird
anyway.
numbers, but yeah.
79. Yeah, someone in the group was like, Rich, why would you sell at 79? I was like, bro, obviously it was a one call bridge, pay for the contract, second call close, you know? And
That's
yeah, I know. I was like, I was even impressed with myself, even though I
yeah.
am the one who teach that. But I think it's still kind of amazing, bro. We've developed the bridge concept to grow a lot, to be a vehicle for clarity and to value and move a sale on. But in reality, what it started out was is just like you and me going, yeah, like you have to pay us just to see a contract.
Mhm.
And we used to do it every day. It was like clockwork. And then when I kind of moved away from high key, not taking so many calls, I would look back and think, wait, bro, what the fuck were we doing? That's kind of mad. But it makes sense. But in reality, it's actually hard on the call. So when I got on this offer and Mr. Bogdan Padua, people might know on Twitter, um, messaged me and was like, and he's great. He was like, bro, I need someone on this offer with me. You're the only one I would like. We went back and forth a bit. It was kind of funny on that offer that I went straight back to, paying a deposit for the contract. Not in every scenario, but I just did it. But yeah, I guess Ryan, what's your perceptions of that type of thing? What questions come to mind when you see that stuff? I guess you'd be thinking in the same way as what all other closers might think.
Yeah, like obviously I know a bit about like the offers, I have to like dive into like specifics of it and stuff like that. But like the biggest difference is obviously again like you're selling to people with money. It's a really good offer. Like we all sort of like understand that. But I think like where people struggle, it's like how do you get like an 80K piff like on one call close or two call close in an efficient manner? Because like I used to sell like corporate shit. Like even sometime 20 to like 100K deal sizes would take months to do. And I know like the dynamic of you said the bridge concept already. It's like you're able to take a call with someone completely cold and then maybe within the next few days they're paying you, 80K wire transfer. And so maybe if you could just sort of like riff on that and like enlighten the people on so like how that sales process works, of how you feel like you're able to expedite those things and get a decision.
Even looking at it though, I still think I don't. It's kind of mad that that happens
Yeah.
because there's no actual real urgency to it. You don't we sell to you, you don't have to buy now at all, and we don't say you have to buy now. So it's still weird that people do it.
Mhm.
But I think that the main aspect for everyone to understand is, and I don't know if I've said this, but I'm writing something right now, creating a video about this. But the offer, the whole encompassing offer of it is insanely good. Okay, so the offer is good. The proof, aka like the kind of case studies, testimonials, is good. The price is a lot, but the guarantee backs it up, right?
Mhm.
So the guarantee, and I won't go into details exactly, but the guarantee basically says if you don't get X by this date, not only will we give you that whole amount back, but we'll give you everything that you put into it along the way. So it's like a no-brainer. It's like that
Mhm.
at the end, it just solidifies everything that they've heard, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I like that you say like one of the first things you said was like urgency or scarcity because so many people will say that like, yeah, dude, like I don't know, I thought it was a good call, but like they didn't really have like urgency or scarcity. How can I create it? And it's like I mean, people always have like the action taking price and shit like that, and asking those NEPQ questions like, well, what happens if nothing changes? Where will you be in 6 months? But it's like
You
the
can't
point like
say
I was
that.
trying to make by asking that question is like you could sit there, you don't use any of that, and people are still paying 80K because they have it's a really good offer, it's a really good deal.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Yeah, it is a really good offer, so
Yeah,
it semi makes that urgency itself. Then you can
right.
bring in, I posted in the group today, or I posted with someone in the group, and me on one of those calls doing a slight variation of the yes or no. So like
Mhm.
little things like that we use. Well, I use. We do bring in kind of, I won't say fake urgency, but there is, and it's if I told you, then it would give away a lot of what the offer is. But it's like there is an aspect of the offer
Mhm.
that I put into the script to suggest we don't have spots for everyone. So I formed a question around it. So like everyone should know, like when I develop a script for anyone or think about scripts, do think about what are some of the reasons why people wouldn't do this or what makes it not for everyone if that's the case. This is not it's real, but it's not. Right? It's just a fact, but it doesn't mean you have to move. And if you really dug into it, you'd realize it's not that. It doesn't create much urgency. But anyway, when
Mhm.
you say
Yeah.
it and you're also the authority on the call and you know how to run the sales process, it's like it just comes like fluid. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, makes sense. Right.
Yeah. And it's a good point that you make. It's like almost kind of not like artificially creating different things because a lot of people might be like, "Oh, he's on a good offer and that's it." But like that's absolutely not the case because you can put 99% of closers in that position that you're in, and they'll fall flat on their face, right? And it's about being able to like take the offer, the price, the proof, the guarantees, and stuff like that, and actually make it a conducive sales process to where like if you're a competent person, you can guide someone through that decision as opposed to just shooting yourself in the foot every single step of the way and asking weird NEPQ questions, trying to get urgency and scarcity to get deals over the line. So that's not the case. Which I know we had the podcast like a week or two ago. It was about like offer proof and price. And it's
Mhm.
like you can have those things in place, but if you don't use it right on the calls or like use it to your advantage, then it's not going to work. And then you're going to sit there thinking, oh, it's a bad offer. When it's not, you just don't know how to sell it.
It's that like we might have even said it before. It's like the fluidity of all of those offer proof and price that kind of working together, right?
Yeah.
Newer closers or maybe intermediates or whatever. I think a lot of the structure of sales calls and all these things you can use and learning what they all are and why they work. And then me and Bogdan were having a discussion, and it's like, if anyone would listen to us, they probably, or one of the calls, you probably wouldn't really understand what the fuck was going on.
Mhm.
Mostly because you'd be like, wait, how did that work? They didn't really do anything. Well, yeah, because you know all of these things and how they work, and then you just utilize little things at the right time when you're presented with the person who needs that one thing right now. You know,
Mhm.
one thing Bogdan does really well, by the way, and this is something I wrote about in the course in our group. And I've always thought like about it, but he just did it consistently, and it made me realize like it's actually really powerful. So one thing he does is just brings up his own stature and the reason why people should buy into him, right? Because it at the end of the day, people are getting on the call to buy into like this offer, which is not me or Bogdan, right? They're buying the product. But at the end of the day, you want to buy from someone who you like, trust, and respect. So Bogdan like just makes that happen by basically and also being unbiased. So you want to buy from someone who's not going to just push something on you. So like he kind of has this thing that he says at the start, like, hey, just to introduce you to myself, not only am I doing this job, but I've been brought into this role because of my experience in all of these different investments. And I have this investment, this one, this one, this one, this one. And I tell you that. So, I'm not just selling from this position. I'm selling from all of these and I can speak to how they work together. And it's really fluid and it's not said in any salesy way. And it's like
Mhm.
you kind of just buy into that and be like, oh, well, this guy's obviously legit. This guy's done X, Y, and Z. It's not easy to do all those things. So I would like to take advice from this guy,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and it's a good point that you make where like, Bogdan obviously has a ton of that experience he can like leverage for himself. And I think like the 18-year-old, 20-year-old closer sitting there, it's like, well, I can't do that, right? But like the point of it is like the frame dynamic of it, where like again they're going to buy into someone that they like, they trust, and respect, and they see as that authority. And so there's a million different ways to sort of like communicate that subtle like frame dynamic, and that's just one of them that if you have it at your disposal, you should absolutely use. And so
Yeah.
I think for people again, maybe without that experience, there's still plenty of ways you can sort of communicate that on the call. Like we have just being a normal human being, like we talked about in one podcast of like not being like super weird and overly salesy, just understanding where people at, helping them navigate to a decision without being weird about it. When you do things like that very effectively, you can communicate that frame dynamic. And so it's just lots of different ways you could do that throughout the call.
Yeah, I just still think it's people are just weird on the call, and if you just weren't weird and you could jump, there weren't these little awkward silences and little bits of tension and like, oh, what is going on? It's kind of cringe.
Yeah.
You'd have a much better time.
Mhm.
Because of all of this though, and the offer proof and price and stuff, the way we approached everything was from a normal perspective of we're putting this in place, this in place, this in place, this would work well. And we've ended up stripping to bare bones and being like, bro, how about we just go in the call and just like, how's it going? And then pitch. You know what I mean? Because like it's been quite refreshing questioning everything. Is that needed? Because like we'd make a close and there were like a few questions before the close, like, hey, so what interests you in this? Like other than making more money. And there'd be a few questions like that, and then we'd close and then we'd look at it and be like, the close didn't happen because of any of those questions. Like
Yeah.
most people would be like, oh, look, he's asking about prior experience and then he's trying to make the gap. So we ended up just going, let's do this. Like let's just be ourselves and just go in and pretty much just pitch and tell them up front, I'm going to pitch you now. I'm going to show you the potential earnings. I'm going to show you the prices, and then we'll fucking see
Mhm.
where we are. And then that's what's been working, which is
Yeah,
kind of crazy.
for sure. And I think it plays into it, like we just talked about, like the frame dynamics, or like just your competency as a person. Like they'll still buy into you to some degree. And it's funny because someone sent me a script. It's probably like earlier this week, and I was reading through it, and it was like 5 pages long. It was like problem awareness questions, situation questions, implication questions, all this shit. And it's like I get like from a foundational sales perspective, it's like that stuff's kind of important. But like to sit there and go through all of it, like more times than not, you're just gonna mess it up by doing all of those things. And so I like what you said, where it's like almost zooming out and looking at it. It's like, well, what's actually needed to move the sale forward instead of just all this like weird salesy fluff. I think it's like an interesting perspective to have because you can probably strip away a lot of useless stuff and it's going to come across a lot better because prospect knows it's like you're not there to just waste time asking a bunch of stupid questions to sell them. It's like you're a professional. It's a very structured conversation and you're just trying to get to like the Drew and Belfort thing, right? Get the end of the straight line the shortest amount of time possible.
It's so true. This is literally what I've been writing today, where I've been just extending one of the chapters. Is I think it would be a good idea if people have the ability to do it, to like just take their offer, create a document, and be like, okay, what's the offer? What's the proof? What's the price? What's the guarantee? Like, just put that in front in a document and be like, how can we just improve that?
Mhm.
And then see if you can actually just attack some sales calls. Like, don't if you've got a big lead volume of leads, like don't just fucking change them all, but like have one of your closers just create a really succinct pitch like that and go into the call bare bones and test, see how it goes. Like what happens if you do that test at bare bones of what really matters, and then they close a few of those. It
Mhm.
makes you go, oh shit, wait a minute. So our long calls, maybe we don't need to be doing that, and we can just get way more leads in all in 30 minutes, and all of them pitched in this manner. Or you might realize, okay, it doesn't work specifically, but we're very close. So you add in just a few little things rather than going to town on what you've been taught. And I
Mhm.
think people would be absolutely mesmerized with what is actually possible. And at the end of the day, like you said, bro, you might even get different results because of just the person they're speaking to. Like
Yeah.
I'm kind of now a massive believer in you can probably take any offer and just say, should we get into it, John? Perfect. So, John, listen, I'm going to go into the offer we have, the proof of it working. Then I'm going to go into a price and how that works. Are you cool if you just give me a yes or no to that at the end of the call? Yeah? Perfect. Boom. Because that's all we need to do.
Mhm.
And I kind of want to jump on all these different offers, bro, and just fucking do it myself and just see how it goes.
It's interesting. I think like the only argument too, because I was talking to someone in Level Up about this the other day when they were asking like, whenever I ask all these questions, like, what am I looking for? And I think it just depends on like the offer specifically, because a lot of times you're just asking, oh, like experience with X, Y, and Z because it changes the way in which I pitch things, right? But I think it ultimately just does depend on the offer. But the thing that stuck out to me on what you just said was like testing it down to like pitch, okay, well, what's needed, then sort of like add some stuff on. I think at the end of the day, if all anyone wants to do is have like the most efficient sales process possible, and it's people always try to add stuff in instead of cut stuff out. So I like the mindset you approach with. It's like most of what people say are bullshit. Like someone will send me a call or review it. It's like an hour and 25 minutes. I'm like, most of this is not necessary, And it's like the more they talk, the more problems they create, and then it just creates a longer sales call, and it's just like sort of feeds into itself, just mindless confusion.
And you just hear stuff though, don't you, as well? You're like, okay, an hour and 20. Lots of bullshit. Oh, we already know. Okay, you listen to some. And then nearly always I'm like, bro, that sounds so disingenuous. And because I know the offer and know what you sell and how it works, I know it is disingenuous. I'm
Yeah.
kind of surprised sometimes prospects just sit and listen through it. That always literally, it confuses me when people say they'll ask questions, say to the prospect, yeah, so I'm not quite sure if we can help you yet, just a few more questions so we can confirm. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, how does the prospect not go, okay, you tell me how it's not a good fit. Please tell me you've asked all these questions and now what else do you need to know more to make it fit? It's a video course. It's prospects' problem as well, bro. Like, what are they doing? Just sitting there saying, okay.
Yeah, if it's like a biz op, it's like a course you can pump anyone in. They're like, well, I'm not sure if it's a good fit. Like, there's ways to spin it where like some people have like really good offers where it's like, we'll guarantee you make this amount of money if you meet X criteria, and then you can kind of flip it a little bit. But like it said earlier, it's just properly positioning that guarantee to make like people qualify to you to some degree, right? But like you said, like there's ways everyone can have a guarantee on their offer, but like if you just explain it and conduct the sales process like a complete idiot, it's just going to have a worse effect than the effect that you want it to have as like a risk reversal. So it's funny.
Yeah, and one more thing I actually want to bring up about this offer is it's not just the closing call. I mean, we do an okay job. However, I'm very impressed with I was involved in just creating the scripts and the questioning and stuff like that, but I was impressed with the ads and then how that kind of moves in and it's all one thing and it really works well together. And I've been starting my calls off saying to people, the cool thing about this offer is it's for everyone, provided you have the liquid capital. That is the only reason why it isn't, right? And I'm just upfront about it. It's the price. I'm not going to sit here and create stupid questions for you to try and do this little dynamic. I could do it and they'll
Yeah.
buy into it because I can just do that. But I'm like, I'll tell them there's no fucking need. And the reason I do also is because on the ad we run, it literally says to people at the top something like, do not apply if you do not have 30K liquid capital minimum. And, I thought that was really refreshing. You can't do that for every offer.
Yeah.
But it cuts out sometimes what I think is, I don't want to shit on setters because we have setters and they do a great job, right? But setters have these calls and they go overboard and they do any PQ on a setter call, they do gap selling on a setter call, they do goals and they do experience. And then after they go, still not sure whether this is going to be a good fit, so I'm going to book you in with this person who's going to do the same stuff with you, but maybe a few more questions. The setter could have, their job could literally be this. Hey, John, how's it going? Yeah, it's a thing from this offer. Cool. Yeah, perfect. So listen, I just wanted to say the only reason it's not going to be a good fit and the only reason you ain't going to get that result is if you don't have this amount of money. Can I just confirm that with you? Because if not, there's no point you having that call. Oh, you do? Perfect. Cool. See you later. That should be the setter call.
Yeah.
For a lot of the things I hear.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I disagree. I think you should book everyone on free strategy calls. I think you should run them through an hour and a half of any PQ questions. I think you should do a 2-call close. I think you should provide free value, and then maybe eventually they'll think about paying you. That's what I think you should do.
Yeah, I
So,
agree, actually. Jeremy
yeah,
mine is right. So,
yeah.
John, honestly, we have no idea if we can help you. And so I've got to ask you some questions, figure that out. And only after you give me confirmation that you're even open to listening to what we have to offer, will I then do it. Shut the fuck up, you
Like,
pussy.
yeah, you could have pitched them already.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Spent 1 hour talking bullshit. Like, in the thing I was writing today, bro, it's like people are taught sales either from convince them or pretend you're not even selling. Do you know what I
That's
mean?
actually incredibly true. Yeah.
A to Z. Like there's no just real middle ground. It's like fake sell, tell them you're not selling even though you are, or convince the hell out of them and don't accept anything other than a yes and pay, right? Which is mental. It's mental.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why like people hide their intentions about that stuff. Like trick them into being sold. Like I'm not selling you, I'm just trying to understand if there's value to be had or some shit like that. You
You
better it's
sell.
like, hey, listen, if you have this amount of money, we can get you this result. Like let's just have a quick efficient conversation. Does it make sense? Cool, I'm looking for a yes or no. Let's get started.
Like,
The more you can get it close to that, like it's just gonna save everyone's time and less people are going to think that you're a complete idiot.
exactly. And you probably make way more sales because I guarantee you people would just be, they would love the refresh, they
Yeah.
would be refreshed with that approach. And that's why I think people like this, our approach, closing pages, because it's kind of like, fuck that side, let's just do this and
Mhm.
figure out what feels natural to you. Take out the fluff. But I can't wait to release this like video and stuff. It's called How to Sell in 2030. Fucking like calling out everything. Remove all of that shit. But yeah, bro, I think we've done pretty good today. Hope you've enjoyed it.